So the question of the public are invited to participate in this meeting of council by attending the meeting in person at the Overton Community Center, located at 13168 Overton Road in Overton. And members of the public can also access the meeting, which will be live streamed on the Middlesex Center YouTube channel, or by contacting the municipal clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. Okay, there is one addition to the agenda tonight. Item 6.4 is a staff report regarding the Melrose Drinking Water Interconnect Project Award, and that's been added for this evening. And other than that, I'm going to now look to council. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Tonight, there are no delegations or presentations to note, and delegations regarding the planning applications will be made during the application public meeting item. Set of minutes from January 15th. The motion before us is that the minutes of the Middlesex Central Council meeting held on January 15th, 2025 be adopted as printed. I need a minute, please. Councillor Coles and Councillor Cates, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. We have a number of items on the consent agenda. Usually these are moved as one item in motion. Is there anything here that council wants to speak to? Councillor Cates, go ahead. Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to, say on 6.2, the Middlesex Center website and social media overview. Interesting stats I always like to see, and I just wanted to say hats off to Heather and Sophie and your team. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything else on that agenda? I don't see any names. In that case, the motion before us is that consent items 6.1 through 6.4 listed on the January 29th, 2025 agenda be adopted as recommended. And moved by Councillor Bruce and seconded by Councillor Cates. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to staff reports. The first item tonight is the Middlesex Center Fire Services 2024 year-end report. Our Director of Emergency Services and the Fire Chief is in attendance to provide that report. The floor is yours. Colin, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, the council. In respect to time, I'm going to jump into the report. I know there's a lot going on in this report, so thank you for taking the time to read it. We'll touch on a few things that I'm sure you had questions on, as opposed to going through all 18 pages. All right, so the first thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the number of calls that we had for 2024. So in the past, I've advised and mentioned that our calls are increasing approximately between 5 and 10% per year. Well, this year was a little bit of an anomaly. We're actually down one call for 5 stations from 435 to 434. The reason for this, we're thinking, is primarily due to our smoke and CO alarm campaigns that we do every year. So as you know, the stations go out and they meet with people in the community, they advise residents on smoke alarms, how to maintain them, and a lot of times this what sets them off and what the best placement for those alarms. So we think that's a big part of it. There are some other contributing factors as well. For all stations, as usual, our motor vehicle collisions tend to be the highest, and then along with our medical interventions and our second station support. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So you can see a year spread there from 2021 to 2024. I also speak to response zones for 5 different stations, and specifically the difference between geographical area and the response zone in total, and the number of responses each station goes to. So on page 3, there's a couple graphs there. One will show geographical area only. And what that actually means is our stations will respond to a number of calls in a year. However, some of them are in their zone and some of them are not in their zone. So the ones that are not in their zone are primarily second station response, mutual aid with other municipalities that surround us, and maybe second station support in the way of some of our special teams. So again, on page 3, you can see for example, Ilderton responded to 74, Delaware 140, Coldstream 55, Bryanston 37, and Arva 54. But their overall calls for Ilderton are 95, Delaware 142, Coldstream 86, Bryanston 40, and Arva 71. So that's the differences between the geographical area and their overall response numbers for the year. Next thing I want to touch on is response by time of day. So in the past, I've spoke about response and our challenges in our paid on-call professional model, and one of them is response times and actually when we respond. So our response delays, if you'd say delays, would be during the day. And the reason for that is a lot of our firefighters may not work in our community, so our response times will increase for certain alarms. And there's a nice graph there that shows the daytime calls as opposed to evening calls. 63% take place during the day and then 37% at night. Fire loss statistics. So the fire loss statistics are always something I get questions on, and it's based on the loss. So, for example, if we were to have a shed fire, and one shed fire, the dollar loss would be lower. Whereas if we were to have a farm loss in the way of a large Quonset hut or a barn, losses are going to be higher. The way we determine that is during the investigation phase of the fire. We determine based on content and replacement cost of the structure. So we have an interesting way that we do that, but that will differentiate between a lower dollar loss value in a year and a higher loss. So fire prevention. So fire prevention and investigation is comprised of a number of things. It's public education, it's inspections, and it's also investigation of fires that happen based on certain criteria that we've laid out in our operating guidelines. So in 2024, our fire prevention officer, in support of two service municipalities, being North Middlesex and Thames Centre, was able to complete 481 inspections, compared to 252 in 2023 and 278 in 22. So we're up significantly there. Investigations stand true. Usually we have between 12 and 15 a year, and this year we had 11. So we're down a little bit, but it's still standard. All right, so grants and donations. So as I've reported before, fire services as defined is really not a revenue generating business. However, this year we were fortunate enough to apply for and be successful in $1,330.66 in grants. So my team and I were pretty proud of that. It was a good year. Firemark is a company that we use to recuperate costs that usually customarily are from fire. So if we have a large scale fire, we have Firemark that will recuperate costs for fires in the way of operating costs, consumables, things of that nature. So this year we're down a little bit. So that is, the way Firemark bills is they will bill for the year and open claims that they will be working on. And oftentimes we won't get those to the following year or mid-year 2025, which will be reported on in 2025. One thing I want to touch on very quickly is training hours. So training is a big thing, and as you may recall, the provincial government legislated the fire services across Ontario to be certified in certain national standards. We were fortunate, we were part of a grandfathering, and we jumped on the grandfathering really quick, and we were able to get pretty much 3/4 of our firefighters all grandfathered based on the training program that we had in place. So with that, there are always new training and recruits that we have and training that we need. So one of the struggles that we have is our training hours. So our firefighters, they give a lot, and the training hours go up. So we're looking at different opportunities to reach those training hours a little bit and keep them down as much as we can. Training hours, that chart is on page 13. Training hours you can see from 2022, 6,005 to 2023 of 8,260, and then 2024 of 8,480. So that is right between our regulative, when the regulation came in, and we were required to make sure that everybody's trained in all different areas. So we're hoping to see a decrease in that, but so the last thing I want to touch on quickly is the recruiting. So we've always been fortunate with our recruiting. So for 2024, and recruiting for 7 positions, and we had 131 applicants. 20 candidates were interviewed, 7 were offered positions, and 10 were placed on our reserve list, with 2 being offered positions later on after the fact. The reserve list to expedite bringing firefighters on in case we do have any retirements mid-year or resignations mid-year. We can just bring them on without having to run a full recruiting. We did have some retirements as well. We had 3 senior firefighters retire. We had 4 resignations with one firefighter accepting a position with the career department, and then 3 moved out of the area, which kind of goes without saying. We currently sit at about 120 staff. Actually, last thing I want to touch on is the emergency management side of our portfolio. So emergency management, as you know, is encompasses the emergency operations center, any major emergencies that we deal with in the way of floods or critical infrastructure issues or hazards that may involve train derailments, this kind of stuff. The Emergency Operations Center sits, and there are certain requirements and certifications that have to happen under the Emergency Management Ontario and Civil Protection Act, EMCPA. So every year we have to do a bunch of training. As you all know, you're part of it, and of our emergency response plan and that kind of stuff, do our training, do our high res, all that fun stuff. So this year, unofficially, we've been advised that we have met our certification again. So that was a big accomplishment. So that's it, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Chief, for that report. I'll look to Councillor. Other questions, comments, observations? Councillor Bears.
Okay. Just wanted to say, good report, Colin. I think our fire department is in good shape. We're doing all the right things. Looks like we're retaining people. Compensation is okay, Colin. So basically, people are sort of happy. Okay.
Councillor Cates.
Just through your Madam Mayor, Colin, just be, if I do say thank you to all of you for your service and all you do to keep us safe.
I don't see the other hands. The only other thing I wanted to note was good job on the partnerships. It's always good to leverage those opportunities and get extra hours or training or dollars or whatever. And so, yeah, I echo Councillor Cates' comments. Keep up the good work. If there are any other questions, then there is a motion before us that yearly report FES 01-2025 regarding Middlesex Centre Fire Services 2024. Receive for information. Councillor Shipley and Councillor. Thank you. All in favor? And those carried. All right. That brings us to item 8, which is public meetings. We need to have a motion to go into public meetings, and that motion is the council move into public meetings at 5:45 p.m. pursuant to the Planning Act, RSO 1990 as amended, to consider the applications listed on the January 29, 2025 Council agenda. Will please, Councillor Cates, Councillor Coles, all in favor? And that is carried. Okay, just before we begin, members of the public that wish to receive further notification on any of the applications that are being considered today, I ask that you please send an email to planning@middlesexcenter.ca requesting further notification. Please be advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record. If you have questions on any of the applications being heard this evening, we ask that you direct those to the appropriate planner on file. Members of the public that have requested to speak will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address council and provide comments on the applications. In keeping with our procedural bylaw and our OSM policy, I will remind all relevant participants to use respectful language and uphold the values of cooperation, trust, and openness. There is an order in which everything happens, so the order of proceedings will be the same for each. The public meeting items, and the order is as follows. First, the chair, that is myself, will ask the planner to explain the purpose of the application and to present the staff report. Then the applicant or the agent has the opportunity to speak to their application. Then the public who have registered will be asked for their comments. Members of the public who are present and wish to delegate will be called on for additional comments. And council asks questions of the applicant, delegates, and or staff. And then finally, the chair will consider motions regarding the applications. Okay, so the first item up is an application for a zoning bylaw amendment, ZBA 12/2024 for 108 Pilgrim Crescent, filed by SBM Limited on behalf of Perpetually Innovative Developments. I'm William Cabral, the county planner is in attendance to provide an overview of the staff report. So I'll look to me to please present that report now.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through to Council. The purpose of this report is to provide a recommendation to Council regarding the rezoning request at the property to 108 King Hill Crescent in Kamoka. The applicant requests to rezone the property from urban residential first density exception 9 or UR 1-9 to a new urban residential third density zone to permit the development of 10 townhouse dwellings. The lands are located on the south side of King Hill Crescent, southwest of the intersection of Kamoka Road and Oxford Drive. The parcel is irregularly shaped with frontage on Hill Crescent only. The entire property is approximately 0.28 hectares or 0.7 acres with frontage of 24.8 meters on Hill Crescent. It's currently vacant of any buildings or development, and existing residential uses surround the property, and railway corridor is located to the north. So an effective zoning bylaw amendment application would permit the development of 10 townhouse units. The applicant did provide a conceptual plan, which is subject to change, and it is appended to the staff report. Based on the development plan, the applicant proposes the development with one access onto King Hill Crescent. There is a one internal private road that will serve all 10 units. Each unit is approximately 2 stories in height with a gross floor area of roughly 1,800 square feet. Each unit has private amenity space in the patio in the rear yard. However, there is no communal amenity space provided. The applicant proposes 2 parking spaces per unit, as well as 2 visitor parking spaces on site. No on-street parking is proposed in the development. The communal mailbox will be placed on site, and the location is to be determined based on consultation with Canada Post. Garbage collection would be collected at the crib for each unit, with the exception of 4 units based on the current development plan, and there is a dedicated bin placement for collection days only. And finally, more technical details related to stormwater management, servicing, and snow storage will be reviewed through further planning applications should this application be approved. Again, this conceptual plan is attached to the staff report for further review. So as part of the rezoning application to a new site-specific urban residential third density zone, the applicant requests the following standards to be addressed, specifically a minimum lot frontage of 24.8 meters for the entire site, a minimum rear yard setback of 6 meters instead of 8 meters, a maximum density of 36 units per hectare instead of 30 units per hectare, minimum outdoor amenity of 36.6 square meters per dwelling unit instead of 45 meters per dwelling, sorry, 45 square meters per dwelling unit. And to consider the same regulations to apply to a regular and condominium if that tenure is proposed for the future development. All other regulations of the UR3 zone would apply. So this application was circulated to staff, agencies, and property owners within the area in accordance with the planning act. At the time of writing the staff report, we did receive a few comments that are reflected in the staff report. There's concern, of course, with the compatibility with the townhouse development within the existing neighborhood. Additionally, there's concern with the reduced setbacks and limited rear yard as a result of this reduced privacy. Residents have also voiced concerns about additional traffic, building heights, tenure of the units, and the lack of conformity with the official plan. Additionally, staff is aware of a letter from the original developer of the subdivision, which identifies the restrictive covenant on the property that prevents the development of this lot for a purpose other than a single-family home, and that the covenant would expire in 2027. Finally, we are aware that there are many comments that we have received over the last 2 weeks from the public leading up to this meeting, and I believe this has been shared with council for your review. So staff reviewed the application and requested that additional technical information related to future site plan application if the zoning is approved. So again, that would be related to some of the on-site works and technical review that we conduct through site plan approval. CM Railway also provided comments related to the development, and due to proximity to the railway, they recommended that a noise and vibration study be conducted and that it be implemented through site plan review. So planning staff did review the application and note that there is policy support within the provincial planning statement, the county official plan, as well as Middlesex Centre's official plan for infill development, especially within Kamuka, where the medium density development is quite limited. Planning staff also note that oversized lot was initially created within the subdivision for the development of one single-family dwelling, and for the possibility of future severance of the lanes should the lanes to the east develop, and there's a connection between Arthur Street and Cuban Crescent. Staff of the opinion that the proposed development is not considered to hinder development on the lanes to the east of Cuban Crescent, and that the concept of the street connection is one of many options that are proposed for the abutting lanes, but it's certainly not the only option. So we have given a few comments within the staff report, several related to this rezoning request and the development plan, and we have also provided this to the proponent and the consultant for review. We're giving amount to feedback received from the public. Staff recommend that this application be referred back to staff for further exploration to address concerns that have been raised by the neighbors and to reconsider some of the application requests. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for that report. And as per my other list, the next item, the next group to speak is the applicant or the agent. I've been informed that Jimmy Robertson is here. This is Craig Linton. If or they're attending, I don't know if they're here. Basically, I was looking at the screen. I'm so sorry. Okay, the floor is yours for your comments. When you're ready, I'll just turn mine off, okay? Just push the button. Oh.
Sure, for your time through representing strict revenue SBN over in Ontario. For PI homes on this application. I would like to thank you for your time. I would like to thank staff for their work on this file. As mentioned, we have had a few conversations going back and forth on this file. Thank you. Since we've started, and this was made comment to today, yesterday, as well as the comments that we have received. Is anybody? Sorry, I'm just going to kind of address myself. So again, thank you very much for this evening. Jim Robson from SPL Short Seeing General, on this application tonight. So we have a few members of panel hosts here. So if there are questions of myself and Lauren, if there's anything I'm able to particularly answer, I'll give some opportunity for the developers around here to answer questions.
Back here, it's all this. Like, yeah. So like, we can all stand in the middle, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Sure.
Like, just make sure you're.
Super excited. Also excited for you. Also just can let you through screen as best I can. So if there are specifics, the best support we've got. So again, for the third time, I'm Jamie Robertson from SPL Strip in London. I'm representing PI homes on this application, and I'm use of PI homes who are here in attendance as well. So if there are questions from council that I'm not able to address, then we will have an opportunity to address those questions as well. But just to get into the application, as was discussed, receiving comments earlier, this was scheduled to go before council in November. At the time, I had conversations with staff based on initial comments that they had, and as well as initial comments received from the public. And so at the time, I decided to put the application from that to make some changes to the site plan. So the changes at that particular time were a reduction in the proposed building height. Originally, it was 3 stories. It is now down to 2 stories. We have increased the proposed rear yard setback. So it was previously 5.7 and it is now at 6 meters for a setback. We shifted the freeway rock further from the east property line, again to match the 6 meters that has been requested for the rear yard, so that that interior side yard does act the same as a rear yard. We increased the amount of landscape open space in the area at the time, and we confirmed the garbage location collections with the water recycling to show the recycling would be adequate for the requirements of the water recycling. Since then, just in some addressing some of the comments, there is a restrictive covenant on the property, which we don't understand, and that will expire in 2027. I won't be rehashing all that, but we do that is in place. And we'll need to work around that as necessary. The subject site is approximately triple the area of the other sites in the neighborhood, and it is irregularly shaped, so it does provide a unique opportunity and a constraint for development.
So we hoped, along with that, the proposed building height and character was not an issue. We do want to know that it is a residential development, in an existing residential neighborhood. Provincial policy planning, planning policies, we have a duration of uses is kind of a focus and a major goal to accomplish. The ideas of this is to create inclusive neighborhoods and not segregated neighborhoods. We want more mixture, more uses altogether to provide more opportunity for various people. References to the height of the proposal at 20 meters is not correct. Our design is not yet complete, but our charts have indicated that any height would be less than the required 20 meters. 20 meter high building would be 5 stories. So that is certainly not in the intent, not the case. More of an 8 to 10 meter tall building would ultimately be the development. And that would be in keeping with the existing things that are currently 2 stories, and then it would still fit in with the existing 1 stories as well. The substandard setbacks, as mentioned in some of the public comments, that commented on the 3.9 meters, just for a record on that one, the 3.9 meters are interior side yards, which through O3 zone requires 3 meters, so we are in excess of almost 3 meters. And the I1 zone would have a requirement of 1.5 meters, so we're double that requirement. The 3.9 is not a substandard setback. A setback of 6 meters requested for a rear yard where 2 meters is required is a decrease, and that is why we're going through the zoning process to get that added. A 6 meter rear yard is a substantial rear yard in urban settlement areas, which can look at as designated as, and it does provide for the required privacy, provide space for landscaping that can add to privacy and for privacy fencing. The last item that I've got is for the servicing. The servicing feasibility study was completed on the site. Grading has not yet been done, as that is a portion of the site plan approval process, but we do understand that stormwater would be increased for the site. The applicants do understand that there need to be extra mitigation factors put into place for design to ensure that stormwater does not go onto neighboring properties and is managed appropriately within the municipal infrastructure. The municipal existing water and sewer capacities are in place for the proposed town units. Thank staff that will work on this, and we are to continue to work with them and looking forward to continuing to work with them with the deferral on this project so that we can come back with another proposal that was through overall intent for design. That's the policies as required. Thank you very much, and I will answer questions later on as the best of my ability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that presentation. Does Mr. Linton wish to speak? Would you like to address or come and speak? You know. We can hear you.
Thank you, Your Worship. My name is Craig Linton. I represent Pennant Kamoka Development Corp., who is the developer of the subdivision of Caverhill Crescent, of which Lot 16 is a part of. I'm not going to get into the application itself. Rather, I want to go back in history a little bit. Shortly after we registered the plan of subdivision, we of course serviced the subdivision. And at the time, there was a large shed located on lot 16. Probably a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of people nod their heads saying yes. So there was a large shed there, and we had a buyer approach us for that lot and said, I would love this lot because I want to retain the shed for my family. I have a car collection, etc. And I knew that there was the existing zoning that's on the lot right now prohibits anything from being built within 38 meters of the southerly property line. And that is to ensure that back 38 meters, that southern 38 meters is able to be subdivided in the future when Tabor Hill connects with Arthur Street. I was told on no uncertain terms by staff at the time, and I want to be clear, none of the staff here who were present at the time, it's two former planning staff that were have long since left the municipality. I was told under no uncertain terms that the shed would never be allowed to be retained because nothing was going to get built there until Tabor Hill connected in Arthur, which required, of course, the development of what is known as the Jones property. I'll call it. I can't recall the municipal address off the top of my head, but it's the property to the east of us. So I couldn't even obtain a building permit for a single family home on that lot until the shed was gone. The municipality held security against me and only released the security after I demolished the building. So fast forward now 7 to 8 years later, and we have an application on the table to build 7 townhome units in the exact location where I was told I couldn't even retain a shed. I just feel that the lot was left that large and is a unique opportunity for one reason. It's a unique opportunity for someone to build a single family home and have the opportunity to develop 2 additional lots when Tabor Hill was extended to Arthur. 2 additional 19-meter wide lots. The remnant lot would be kind of an odd-shaped corner lot, but still lots big enough to accommodate a single family home. So the history to me is quite important because of the way that I was treated as a developer. If I thought it was a good idea to build a 10-unit townhome complex here, I can tell you right now, Pemmican would have done it, but it wasn't done that way. The subdivision was not draft plan approved. We had to design the draft plan of subdivision to make sure that Tabor Hill could connect to Arthur. And we did that. We followed all the rules. And now fast forward, 8 years later, and we have this situation occurring. And, I understand, that PI Homes has purchased a lot from someone. It wasn't, we sold it to a builder. The builder sold it to their client with the agreement specifically stating they were building a single family home. That agreement wound up in a lawsuit, and the lot was now in the hands of a private owner who we didn't have any control over. They've subsequently sold it to PI Homes. So I don't really take issue with PI Homes here. They bought a piece of property with the intent to develop. That's not my beef. My issue is the fact of the way that we were treated 8 years ago, not even being able to get a building permit on the lot until we tore a shed down for the explicit reason that 38-meter rear yard setback is in place, and it is in place right now. And no one seems to understand that history or why that is in place. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you. And now it's an opportunity for people in the public to speak. If you are choosing to speak, you will come up forward to the front. I'd ask you to address your comments to council, whoever's listening to it. And I think everyone is basically hearing what's going on in the room. I will be calling time if you go over. I guess I'm doing a hand signal for 1 minute, but yeah, that 1 minute. Yeah. So there's a 1 minute warning. If you're coming forward, if someone has already mentioned your points, you'd be wise to choose to speak to their points or indicate your agreement. We don't want to hear 5 people saying the same thing over and over. If it's been said, we heard it. Please make your points. You add to the color of the picture and make sure that you have the time to say what you want to say as opposed to being cut off. So if there is anyone who's coming forward, just take a turn or let your neighbor go first, or we'll call them alphabetical or anything like that. So.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. My name is Carol Jones, and we have lived at 22685 east of the proposed scout development for 25 years. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and thanks for reading my letter. I apologize that I sent in a rather lengthy letter, but we were passionate about our concerns, and the fact that we are not developers were unsure which points to raise. So I have strong concerns with respect to the proposed zoning change to the 108 Cather Hill. From our perspective, even with the changes that have been made to the application since it was submitted last fall, there are serious issues with our property, including privacy, enjoyment of our land, loss of established trees on our property, and reduction of sunlight. Many of these same issues will have negative effects on other neighbors in adjacent properties, and there are especially other important factors too, such as the lack of space to provide fire and emergency service and proper waste management. We are asking for this proposed rezoning to be denied. The application calls this development an infill redevelopment in other places in the brief. And we claim that this is an unfinished development that was zoned and approved for single-family homes. We wondered what precedent this would set for others who may wish to come to Kamoka to live. People make their plans and important decisions based on the knowledge of the area they wish to locate. It seems unfair to suddenly change the plans. When our property is eventually developed, the plan put in place after careful consideration is no longer going to be an option if this proposed development goes ahead. I understand that rules have changed, but good planning is good planning. I wondered if the municipality could consider purchasing the back of 108 that Craig spoke to in his earlier tonight and allow the developer to proceed with a single family home. We would also entertain purchasing that lot for a reasonable price for the convenience of future development. As already noted, people living in the area need access to many different things, groceries, medical appointments, travel to work, and therefore need sufficient space to park vehicles. Since these amenities are not within walking distance, there's no yard space for toys and activities nor storage of outdoor equipment. If people have no room to store their items, they'll have to go into their single car garages, compounding the lack of parking, leaving only one spot for townhouse. Having green space in proximity to housing is also not just nice, it is essential for the families that live there. Kids need to be able to go outside and do things. Adults need to be able to go outside and be connected with their neighbors. We would ask that this proposed rezoning be denied. I would also just add that the petition that I helped get signature on, I was really impressed with all the neighbors who are on the same page. In the whole side of Kamoka, the proposed plan, I think with the exception of one household, we got signatures on every single household, and people were eager to share their concerns. In fact, that made gathering those quite a task because there was homes with 45 minutes or an hour and a half in one case for me. So anyway, thank you so much for entertaining my thoughts. I hope I was able to speak to all the things that I plan to. Thank you.
Mayor, councilors, staff.
Your name and address, please, for the clerk.
My name is Adam Redmond and I live at 106 Caver Hill Crescent. My comments this evening are to touch on and are in addition to the comments that I've already submitted to the clerk. While we understand that there are mandates that support intensification, the reality of the matter before us is that not all situations should be blanketed with a one-size-fits-all solution for said intensification. On behalf of the Caver Hill Crescent and area residents, we still affirm our stance that 108 Caver Hill Crescent maintain its UR1 zoning. I would like to first highlight the petition that has been submitted with up to 131 signatures of residents opposing this rezoning. This lot was designed with purpose and should not be characterized as an infill. Rezoning contradicts the intent and history of this lot. I would like to agree and support Craig's statement about the restrictive covenant. And while I understand it doesn't take place in the decision-making process, it does tell part of the story. Until the covenant is lifted, any rezoning application would be premature. In reference to the Planning Act that outlines a minimum planting strip between the driveway and our residence that would be next to it at 1.5 meters, this does not comply with the submitted application. I know Carol touched on the parking. When we speak about the realities that we are dealing with in this situation, we feel that it is only accounting for 12 actual parking spaces when the required should be 15. We do not feel that accounting for a garage parking as an allocated space is realistic given the small outdoor living space and lack of storage for overall personal belongings. I'd like to thank you for your time and hearing our concerns. Respectfully ask that PI Homes be good stewards of the community in which they wish to build a good name for themselves and empathize with the concerns from residents in the beautiful community we're fortunate to call home. Thank you.
My name is Dan Webb, and I'm through Capital President. Last year's municipality has made good progress in improving the housing mix in the Kamoka Pureworth area. With respect to new town and construction, at this time, there are 196 attached townhomes identified in 3 subdivision site plans for Kamoka. 69 units in Unity Square, 129 units in Renwick Estates, and 8 units in the Cuddy subdivision. Given the number of proposed townhomes in these 3 subdivisions, there is little justification that these 10 units are needed to satisfy housing mix and intensification policy goals. There is no community justification for this size of development in this location where it will only negatively impact neighbours' ability to enjoy their property both during and after construction. It's very reasonable for the existing homeowners to expect the slot to be developed with the constraints of one single family zone. It's unreasonable for a homeowner who has always intended to build a single home. Just last year, they were submitted a building application for a single family zone. So then, all of a sudden, decide to seek a UR3 zoning and also to request exceptions to the existing UR3 zone just to maximise return on investment. As a residential developer, perpetually inventive homes is or was rather the Cuddy subdivision. Subdivision plans 56 single detached homes and 8 townhomes. If having 10 more townhomes in Kamoka is important as stated in the justification report, it's a planning decision to increase the number of townhomes in the subdivision. 6 single detached lots based on the planned street townhome block to place 12 townhomes. Based on site plan, fire access and low maintenance issues associated with the site factor. A picture of the issues for just started on the Oxford Road subdivision. However, so just this week that PI is for cross reasons. This doesn't sit well with us. On page 10 of the plan justification report, it's PI Homes that this project was to 10 units to be financially feasible. Homes hasn't been the job to be public. Should continue to entertain this excessive development and potentially precedent-setting application to rezone a single dwelling lot. Furthermore, if 10 units is the only financial feasible option for PI Homes, PI Homes has been clearly for recommendations and community concerns, then why is the municipal plans report not yet so refused?
PI Homes understands the necessary negative impact this proposal will have on reputation. Facilitate excessive for senior development. We also want to make a stance and make it clear that residents completely oppose including to our communities the seek to overmax the excessive developments and use the ALT as a threat. Balanced to applications like this. These voices should be heard and other councils raised tonight. Reference to the municipal plans report, future development of adjacent areas at the time. Thank you for listening to us, and we hope that PI Homes will finally listen to our concerns and appreciate the values of our community that deserves to be valued. So ask that PI Homes be good neighbours, empathetic, and the community have and appealing the decision. The build that was planned on the site, single family home. Cheers.
Coming up,
I did not write down my name, so this is impromptu, and I apologize, it's not prepared very well, because I didn't prepare anything. My name is Carrie Phelps, and I live at 110 Prince Street. Items that we addressed, I just wanted to point out something at a photo, and it's part of the comments that I did make and send to council. I'm sorry. There's 10 minutes. So short. Space. Children are going to find somewhere to play. Space is a road there. And 10 minutes are there. The fact that between Colorado and Duke, you have the place, which is where all that traffic will come. 25% increase in the volume of vehicles. So it's also dangerous. I think that's for it. And the fact that they're trying to hit 10 units in that one space and trying to make all these allowances, it just feels like maximum profit and minimum carry in that area. So thank you.
I'm Ross Ferguson, and I live at 58 Haverhill Crescent. First off, I just want to extend thanks to council for the work that you do, the time that you put in, and for all of the neighbors and friends behind me who have come out to show their support for this. This is a really difficult one, and you know, it's not lost on a lot of us that Ontario needs more homes and more affordable housing. When you look at our street and you look at the need, like this just doesn't seem to fit. It doesn't make a lot of sense from a planning perspective, and all of the points that have been brought up here earlier today resonate. If you walk down our street in the summer after a hard rain, you see what our storm sewers look like. You see that it's not ready for additional pavement that takes up green space. It's a real challenge here because the land deserves to be developed. There deserves to be homes on that property. And, I really wanted to implore council tonight, as your constituents, we really do put a lot of faith in you guys listening to us and hearing us out and being on our side for these things. And it's so incredibly important. And I want to give a shout out to Sue Cates because she is our Ward 4 counselor. And I know that it has probably taken you so much time to go through everything that has been submitted. And to think about this, but I really want to push, I don't want to push to say like development's not a great thing because I know that we need more homes, but there needs to be a compromise. And I think that if people are willing to work hard enough at it, that can be accomplished. So I just really want to challenge council and say, on our behalf, we're putting our trust in you to hear everything that you said tonight and really think about going back and saying, is there not a common ground that can achieve everybody's goals? Because it would be a huge win. Like we know because we live in Kamoka, we know what a coveted area this is to not only live in and raise a family. I'm a GTA expat. I called London home for 15 years. I moved to Kamoka because my wife's family grew up there. She wanted to raise our family there. I'll be honest with you, when we first moved there, I was like, I don't want to be here. I felt like I was disconnected from London. I felt like I was far from everything. As I've watched the community grow and as I've supported the businesses that have flourished in this community, like I can't picture living anywhere else. Honest to God, like it is an incredible street and it is probably the best kept secret. I'm just going to end it there. And again, I'm just going to put that challenge out to you guys. I'm glad I was able to make this meeting tonight. I didn't have anything formal prepared because I had a conflict that last minute was able to attend. And I just really want to say that, I think the demonstration of the amount of people, like 5:30 is hard for a lot of us to get here, especially those of us that have families and other commitments. So I hope it resonated with you how we're feeling about this. And again, I just think there's got to be a solution that is amicable for both sides. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate you hearing us out tonight. So thank you.
Last call. Okay. Let's just go, please move.
Before this meeting, my name is Hong Jin, and I live at 137 Prince Street. Because of the applicants, I have a valid argument, so let me bring out just one thing that he was trying to convince you that he changed the setback from 4 to 6 meters to have privacy issues. But imagine you are sitting 2 meters from the building, and the building is 10 meters high. And let's say you move the building 3 meters away. So what kind of privacy you can get, right? So if you don't come setback, that's not the privacy. The setback, the reason why you have setback is to between these buildings and not between the backyard to the buildings, right? Application of how to different application. So what you do is basically things. I want just to say that that was not a valid argument to secure our privacy in our neighborhood. That's it. Thank you very much.
Sorry. My name is Paul Aki. We're at 49 Calgary Crescent. I just wanted to bring up some safety concerns. Ms. Gates has been helping us a lot with the crosswalk on Commercial Road. That's been an issue for a lot of the neighbors in Calgary. We've been hoping to get a crosswalk, and with more townhouses coming in, if we had 10 people come into these single family homes.
Well, I have to ask you to stick to the planning issue. Comments with
Community, imagine 10 more homes in their community, and now they're all having to walk to school. Without a crosswalk, with proper security, even the sidewalks, we just got sidewalks in last year, the year before. Safety was a very big concern for me about the kids and getting to school. I just want to bring that point up because I don't think I mentioned it in my email that I sent as well. And I'm not a good talker either, so sorry for stumbling here. I appreciate everything. You've been moving along. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So this then the
Sorry, I lost this. Okay, so council is next to speak, and so council the word for is going to
you through and also did you hear that? Tiffany crosswalk? Since was the spiel of so many everybody that I've got a so here tonight for your input, your conversations, your petition, and this application. Please know that I have read each and every one in great detail, and I understand and appreciate what you said, and I do agree with you. However, the other half of this is that we as council are provincially mandated through the provincial policy statement and numerous bills, etc., to support and encourage diversification of housing, including infill and intensification, to do our part to help with housing shortages we face as a province and country, all being downloaded to us. This will not be the last one. We find ourselves saying it's not always easy to sit in this chair, given the roles that are put upon us. In my opinion, a big reality that we face as we see some of the intensification is the design on paper versus reality. What do we end up with? The reality for tonight is we end up with a tight complex with cars parked everywhere, garages being used as storage and not parking. We've been parking for only one car in a real community. 2 cars are given, a large amount of concrete and asphalt and space. We want to put the snow, the proper route for the garbage pickup to each unit. There's a fire. Again, the on-paper design versus the reality of what we end up with. And for a minute, let's just imagine cars parked haphazardly and there is a fire. How is there room for a couple of fire trucks, a rescue vehicle, pardon me, ambulance, an EPP, etc., etc.? I can't help but look at some of the current projects nearing completion and on the go from over the past few years and see the reality created from these examples. I recently visited one of the sites nearing completion and found myself trying to turn around in a very tight driveway with the corner of the porch right at the driveway. And there wasn't any snow yet. Garbage bins being stored outside as no room in the garage. You can't fit a car in those room if they chose to park in there. I've also heard rumors of cars getting mirrors knocked off trying to get in the garage. Garages being used as storage as nowhere else to put the toys, buggy, the everyday stuff. I can't help but ask myself, what are we creating here? Thinking, considering all the pieces involved. Yes, we have codes and zoning bylaws and planning guidelines, etc., but let's not forget the reality. It was my plan tonight to move that this plan be referred back, so I'm happy to see the planners are recommending referral back to PI Homes so that they can go back to the drawing board design. I would also like to add, we have a single family lot here for one house, but you're asking for a zoning change not just for 30 units per hectare, but to 36 units per hectare. So that equates to 10 units versus 8 as the zoning calls for. Why? I ask that you go back to the drawing board and use some integrated thinking to come up with a plan that makes all the realities, concerns, and input taken to heart and have a drive around and see the difference in some of the complexes, some tight and some very spacious, that we have in our community. We need to make sure this is done right. We are building a legacy here, and attention to detail and realities are critical. Recommendation to refer back to PI Homes And I would also like to say, to echo Ross Ferguson's comments, to say it can be amicable for both sides. Thank you. Other council members, if you'd like to speak, there's a motion, second, I'm moving for the motion, but it's your chance to really, if there's anything at this point that you'd like to ask. Okay, everyone's nodding and smiling, so, are there any questions of staff or on the report at this point either? No, okay. In the case, I really, we have a motion on the floor. Thank you, Councillor Bruce. So it's moved by, seconded by Councillor Bruce. I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. And thank you, Councillor. Moving on to the next item. We'll just take a we'll just take a 2-minute break so people can leave and not feel like they're disturbing. You can just stay as well. If you'd like to go, get your coats and application for consent. Some described by Sue Williams and Watson and Williams for this one as well. So the purpose of this report is to provide counsel regarding recommendation regarding applications to rezone and several lands at 15309 Road, which is located on the southwest corner of Highway Avenue North and Road. The applicant requests to rezone part of the lands from agriculture to a farm industrial zone to permit a new farm equipment sales and service establishment, and to rezone the farmland to a site-specific agricultural zone to reflect a new minimum lot area of 87 acres. The severance application would also sever the 6.9 acre parcel of land from the farm equipment, for the farm equipment sales establishment and separate it from the farmland. And the severed parcel is proposed to have 635 feet of frontage onto Highway Avenue North. The applicant did provide a concept plan, and this has been appended to the staff report. Again, it is still preliminary at this time and will be subject to a future site plan application. The lands are surrounded by agricultural uses, and an existing farm equipment sales establishment is located immediately to the north that abuts the proposed development. The subject land does contain an existing single detached dwelling and accessory buildings, which has access and frontage onto 9 Mill Road, but it is separated from this proposed development, which is closer to the Highway Avenue North frontage.
So notice of this application was circulated to area residents, stakeholders, and staff. Staff did not receive any comments from the public. Municipal staff reviewed the application and rezoning and consent application, and didn't have comments at this time. More technical and detailed comments would come at the time of site plan approval. QT staff did identify the need for a road widening along Highway Avenue North, as well as 9 Mile Road, which has been incorporated into the conditions of consent in the accordance with municipal and county guidelines for road design. Planning staff have also reviewed all applicable policies and guidance material, including the provincial planning statement and the province's permitted uses guidelines for agricultural areas. And general industrial or commercial operations such as this one, where it does benefit from being located within the agricultural area in proximity to its users, are generally permitted, provided that they don't require municipal services, avoid using active agricultural land, and do not negatively impact the surrounding agricultural operations. So planning staff are generally satisfied with the proposed use and does meet the terms of the official plan and for those in the agricultural area. Further, staff reviewed the proposed list of permitted uses within the requested farm industrial zone and recommend specifically that an abattoir and grain handling facility be removed from the list of uses, since those are quite intensive uses that haven't been analyzed or assessed as part of this application. Additionally, staff are generally satisfied that the requested in one zone for the retained farm parcel is applicable and appropriate for this development, and will just reflect the use of the land. So given the analysis, staff recommend to amend and approve the zoning bylaw amendment to establish the farm industrial exception zone and agricultural exception zone as it is appropriate for the land. And staff recommend approval of the consent file subject to 12 conditions noted in the staff report. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report. And Washington is not registered to speak, but I'm wondering if that anyone is coming to speak to this file. Okay, so we're ready for questions and no comments at this point, so we can move on. Is there anyone here who wishes to comment on the file? Seeing no one. So questions, comments, I start with the councillor Bruce.
So can I address the applicants? So probably just so it's a simple question. So you're going to do just a commercial operation where you sell farm equipment and service it. Is that the intent? So what kind of building is over there? You're going to apply. Okay. Okay, that's my question. Simple enough. Thank you. To the applicant. So, Scott over. The business has grown, so we need a larger facility to service our customers. Part of that will be adding employees. Yeah. So.
I don't see any questions from council. The motion is quite long and it's all printed in front of you. Entertaining and moving through that motion. Councillor Shipley and Deputy Mayor Brennan seconding. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay. Next up is application for zoning bylaw amendment for 12626 Overton Road, by Ladies LLP on behalf of 1106002 Ontario Limited. Actually, there are three companies, Joe, Jay, and James Scottson. So the bylaw planner will present that report as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'll just identify that items 8.3 and 8.4 related to files that Stephanie mentioned during the committee meeting, and these were conditions to fulfill conditions of consent related to those two severance applications that went to the OLT and were recently resolved. So the purpose of this report is to provide a recommendation to council regarding the rezoning request for property at 12626 Elderton Road. The applicant will request to rezone the severed parcel to a surplus residence zone and the retained farm parcel to an agricultural no residence zone. And again, this is in order to fulfill a condition of consent for file B12/2023. Planning staff reviewed all applicable policies and was satisfied that the application is consistent with the PPS, county, and local official plans. As such, planning staff recommend approval. Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak to that file, the applicant? I don't see any names. Speaking. Council, are there questions on this file? I see no names and no names. We do have a motion before us. That the same amendment application filed by Lewis LLP on behalf of companies and the owners, James Rapson, Teresa, known as 12626 from Agricultural 1 Zone 2, surplus residence, zone and agriculture residences zone for the severed Arlington lands consent application B12/23 be approved. Please, Councillor Shipley and thank you, all in favor. And that is carried. And 8.4. So finally, the purpose of this report is provided a recommendation to council regarding a rezoning request for the property at 14875 Elderton Road. The applicant requests to rezone the separate parcel to surplus residence and retain farm parcel to agricultural residence to fulfill a condition of consent for file B11/2023. Planning staff reviewed the relevant policies and are satisfied that the application is consistent with the PPS, county, and local official plans. As a result, planning staff recommend approval. Just a question, so I'll look to Councillor Drew and second. Councillor Bowles, Councillor Cates, I call the vote in favor of that. Thank you very much. That is carried. Okay, moving on to 8.5. Oh, no, we're done. Okay, so we can now rise from this section to rise from public meetings. The motion was that public meetings adjourn at 6:48 p.m. and council resumes the regular meeting. Please, Councillor Coles, Councillor Cates, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we don't have any notices of motion this evening. So, correspondence. We have a number of items here. Is there anything councillors wish to speak to or follow? Okay, in that case, the correspondence, the motion before us is correspondence items number 11.1 through 11.14 listed on the agenda for this evening. We received this information. We'll get on the river, please. Councillor Oates, thank you. Councillor Shipley, it's carried. Section 12. It's local meetings and committees. There is a motion. Does anyone want to speak to anything from your representative? Okay. So the minutes of the local meetings and committees 12.1 and 12.2 that are listed on the agenda for this evening be received as information. So 12.1 is upper Thames and 12.2 is lower Thames. Roll please and a seconder. Councillor Cates and Councillor Cole, thank you. All in favor? It's carried. And Councillor Brennan doesn't have anything to add tonight with respect to counties, so we can move to other business. Are there any items Councillor would like to bring to our attention? Seeing none, then we have the bylaws. Bylaws listed on the agenda. The motion is that bylaws 2025, number 12, listed on the agenda for this evening, be approved. Move it, please. Councillor Bowles, thank you, and Deputy Mayor Brennan, in favor. That's carried. And we can have the motion that Council for Municipality of Middlesex Centre adjourns this January 29th, 2025 Council meeting at 6:50 p.m. Councillor Bowles, I'm sorry. Councillor second, all in favor. Thank you. That is carried.
Yeah.